All right, so on this first one with the stars, what kind of a pattern did you notice? Goes up by 2 each time. So the first one in the pattern, we had how many? How many stars? 3. And then to get over here, we added 2 more. So we had how many stars over here? 5. To get the next one in the pattern, we added 2 more. And it meant how many stars? 7. So I've seen 3 iterations now. I'm pretty sure that the pattern is to do what each time? Add 2 each time. So I'm adding 2, I'm adding 2, I'm adding 2, I'm adding 2. Lots and lots of times. How can I write this out so that instead of having to draw all the way to the 21st iteration, how can I make use of this pattern to help me write something so that I don't have to just draw stars until I'm sick of drawing stars? Let me switch to white. 2x. Tell me what you have x meaning here.
The iteration that you're on.
Yep, the iteration number. So if you find yourself doing the same thing multiple times,
You multiply by 2.
you're multiplying. In this case, we're multiplying by 2 because we were adding 2 each time.
So plus 2x plus 2.
So I have 2x. Now I have to make sure that that right there, if I take where I'm at in any of these iterations, that it would give me the right number of stars back. So let's look at the iteration number here. Very first one, this is the first iteration in this pattern, right? So if I take a 1, because this stands in for my iteration number, if I put a 1 in here, what's 1 times 2? 2, but I have how many stars? 3. So add 1, because I was short 1 star. Let's see if that holds up for the others. This is the second iteration, right? So I would put 2 in the place of this x. What's 2 times 2? 4, but we have 5 stars. 4 plus 1, and I get 5. What about for the third iteration? 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 1, and I have 7 stars. So I could use this right here instead of drawing out. There's nothing wrong with drawing it out to the 21st iteration.
Well, so you're supposed to add it if you do draw it out to the 21st iteration?
If you draw it out to the 21st iteration, you would have to count all the little stars there, yeah. Because I don't want to know how many stars to build everything. I just want to know.
I was adding up all the numbers.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't want to know how many stars to build every iteration.
Yeah.
I just want to know how many stars I need to build the 21st one.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I use this, what would I do with this then to figure out how many stars in the 21st iteration? 2 times 21 plus 1, you said comes out to what? 43 stars. Let me scoot that over just a little bit. Beautiful. Let's look at one of the other ones, the ones with squares. How many green squares in the first iteration here? 3. How many in the second? It's increasing by 3 each time. And if I find myself adding the same thing over and over and over, we can say multiplication. So 3 times x, where x means my iteration number. Now I have to take that and compare it to what I've got to make sure that it actually tells me the right number of squares. This is the first iteration, right? So if I take 1 and I put it in for x, I get what?
3.
3. How many squares did I need? 3. What about second iteration? 3 times 2 would be 6. I needed 6. Do I have to add or subtract anything to this? No, it's good the way it is. So how do I find the number that would be necessary for the 21st?
Put 21st in.
Yep. Put 21 in for x. You get 63 squares. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. You were not expected to write an expression. The people's work that you're going to be grading, they were. So I did want to talk about that piece, but I really just wanted to get our brain reactivated on patterns right here. How can I do this one? How many orange squares do I need? 5 here. 9 and 13. What kind of a pattern do you notice? Adding 4 each time. So what can I do to start representing this?
You need to do 4x.
4x. If I put 1 in the place of x here, will that give me the right number of squares?
Yeah. No, it won't. It will just give you 4. So then you have to. Wait, what did you just say? Yeah, it'll give you 4. Then you have to add 1.
Then I have to add 1 so that it gives me 5.
Yeah.
Check it against
And
the
you
other
have to
ones
do
here.
that with 8 too and 13.
2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 gives me 9. Third one in the pattern, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 gives me 13. So yes. So in the 21st iteration, how many would I need?
85.
85 squares. All right, I'm only going to talk about the top one on the back side, just because that is the most like what you're going to be looking at and assessing, okay?
What even known as the back side?
There is a back side.
If I was wondering.
What kind of patterns are you noticing?
What is the back side?
Only the long rows are changing, I guess.
What do you mean by the long?
Like, it's like one row in the middle, and then to the side of them, there's always 2 squares. Those 2 squares are consistent, but the rows in the middle are the ones that are changing.
There we go. Okay, so here's what Nasiba just said. These 2 oddballs on the sides are staying consistent. So if I can figure out how many squares to make the middle, I just plus 2 to that, right? All right, so I'm going to write that down. It's something, something, something plus 2. So now I need to figure out a way of finding every time how many squares I need in the middle. So look at this first one. How many squares are there just in the middle? 3. So this one ends up being 3 plus 2. What about in the middle on figure 2? 8 plus 2. What about figure 3?
15.
Did you count all those?
No, I just counted long ways and what, and then I multiplied.
You counted length and width, and then did what with that?
Multiplied them.
That is a much faster way to count. Okay, so did you guys hear what Nasiba said? She said she was looking at just this, and she did the length and the width here. She's like, oh, this is 3 by 5, and that's how she got 15. So I'm actually going to rewrite that 15 as 3 times 5. Does anybody feel like counting all the little squares by hand on this last one? Or would you rather use length and width? Okay, so what's the length and the width here?
6 and 4.
6 and 4. So I would have 6 times 4. I'm going to write it the other way around. Doesn't really matter, but I'll show you why I made a big deal out of it in a minute. And then we're going to have to plus 2 on this, right? Well, 6 and 4 together give me what? 24 plus 2. All right. Can I apply this same pattern back here to like quickly count those 8?
Yeah.
2 by 4. Oops. And this one back here is what?
3 rows.
Yep. So 2 by 4, 1 by 3. So this could be 1 times 3 plus 2. This one could be 2 times 4 plus 2, right? You guys okay with what I've written down so far?
You said.
Mm-hmm. So right here, Nasiba said she didn't count each and every square. She said she just counted the length and the width and multiplied them to count faster. Absolutely agree with that as a method. And in fact, I think that's going to be the key to unlocking how many there would be in the 21st iteration.
So there's 4 and then it's, oh, so you're going by, because it's like this, okay.
Yep, so we're looking at length and width. So let's look at just the width right now. What's the width on this one? 1. This is figure number 1. This one, the width is, the figure number is 3. The reason I'm looking at the figure number each time is because they said, how many are there in the 21st figure? This is the only information I have to work with in the future. So I need to be able to use this as my input.
So you did, where did you put the figure number? In the first.
Well, hold on. We're doing length times width plus 2. What do you notice about the length each time?
Yes, it was the figure number.
Yep. So I've got x times, now I need to figure out this number here.
It's plus 2 of your figure number.
Figure number plus 2. Figure number plus 2. Figure number plus 2. That's absolutely correct. So here I would go x plus 2, and then that plus 2 for those 2 weird guys off to the side. Can I use that as a pattern to figure out how many there would be in the 21st iteration? Okay, so in the 21st...
So the first x is the figure number, the second one is the...
Yeah, the first x, because if you notice, this right here is always the same as our figure number here. So we'd have 21 times... What would this be on our 21st iteration? 23. 21 and then 2 more. So I've got 21 times 23. Will that give me how many squares?
483. Oh, it won't give you enough though.
Because I still need what?
The plus 2.
I still need those 2 weird ones on the end. So we're going to need, what, 485? 485 is how many squares you would need to build the last one. All right, last 10 minutes, I want you to do this in small groups. Small groups for me.
But we have, let's see the one that's
I'll be right there, Ralph. These are actually sizable packets. Let me explain what I want you to do with these now. Okay. On the first page, this is the problem they were given. Pretty much exactly what you guys were just looking at. Find the number of tiles in the 57 figure. So even further out. So you definitely don't want to just be drawing this. It says justify your answer using an algebraic expression. That's what we were writing down. Is what's a way using variables that I can find this number without having to draw every single picture in between. So here's the first student's work. And each page you're going to have student work. And then this is the rubric that will be used on every question on the short answer portion of your final exam. It's a 4-point rubric. 2 points for understanding the concept. Do you get the big idea? 2 points for the process, the mechanics. So if somebody puts 3 times 4, but then on their next line they have 7, because they accidentally added instead of multiplying, that would be a process thing. They understood the big, if doing 3 times 4 is the right big idea, they get credit for the big ideas here. Missing a sign, dropping a negative, forgetting the difference between squaring and stuff, that goes here. Okay? So I want you looking for 0, 1, or 2 points for big idea, 0, 1, or 2 points for the actual, like, typing stuff in the calculator correctly, okay? Because process and product are both important. 0 does not mean they didn't do anything right, but it means limited or no understanding. If they show some understanding of the big idea, they get a point. If they show a thorough understanding of the big idea, they get 2 points. There are no half points. You gotta put them as a 0, a 1, or a 2 on the mechanics and the big idea, all right? I know you won't get through all of them, but I want you guys to look at these, discuss amongst yourselves. If you want to look at it mostly on your own, I'm not going to get on your case about that, but I really want you to look at these other students' work, because I need you to see the difference between what's a 4 and what's not a 4. You don't know these students. I don't know these students. You can't assume what they mean. You can only go off of what they wrote to you.
There was that oddball like you said. X squared. Is that what you're I'm still learning. X by 1. Okay, I'm like that. Okay, so, it says, this, the oddball number.
1 unit wide and X equals 1. This is X squared. How many of these?
So, this is 2 by 2, 1, 2, 3, 3 by 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4.
This guy's already squared, right?
Okay, so this says, wait, why don't we come up with our own and make it better?
Or something as
How do
close
we
to
do the other
square as we
one?
can.
Okay, so what is that? So there's figure 1.
What do you still
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
So the power you know. Over here, what do you need?
So it will be X. Wait, so how would you run that?
No, I was looking at that say too, because it looked like you did something right.
So that'd be squared. And what is that? That is our, what's the X represent?
The X is the iteration. Like, it's not either one.
Okay, iteration.
So what's the rank?
Iteration number 1 is adding the oddball out. No. Oh, it's adding each number to get bigger. And then square that one. Why? Because by itself. Okay. So then that's that. Okay, so they kind of put, but they put plus one, but we have to do that oddball. So plus one. Okay, so our equation change that. So we can put both. Give them 2 because, but it didn't really show what one how to add it, so I would say probably like 1. Because it didn't show like
I still hate your jump shot. It's perfect, but I just hate your like, you be like this. And it goes in.
Actually, my jump shot changed.
Except it should be for lunch.
That was when.
We had,
I know what you're talking about. I used to double clutch.
What? And then you need to borrow what you need.
You guys are 25.
Bro, if niggas not go play defense, I'm gonna just keep playing around.
Yeah, that's what I got.
You don't really change when we can't. I don't like Kobe. Like, he was. No, he has a video of deleted it.
I gotta go get this. Wow.
But you can, I'm letting you borrow.
What did I say?
But then outside of your.
I meant to say, I forgot to say the zero. 3,000. No wonder you were like, bro, what did you do? I was like, that's so small. Like, how did you get that?
No, we don't. We gotta go to practice. Big guys,
Wait, because why? Because they subtracted zero?
Yeah.
She did the same thing too.
I could give them 1 point because they couldn't understand what they wanted to do, but like.
No, for real. Maybe at the end of the day, right, I'll be going back to test and be like, oh my god, that was a good one to the stage. Like, how did I do that? And it's like, I can eat right. That is
Right.
like, no way I can do all the time for you to be like, I'm not. I'm so happy with that. I was just the last day of school. I mean, the mental break. I'm so ready for it.
Oh, good. I'm pretty soon, so.
Oh, wait,
Vegetarian?
Have a great one, guys. Those of you that were working on finishing up tests, if you are done, put it in the basket. If you are not done, put it on my desk.
Have a good break.
Oh, I see line. He is not a vegetarian.
If you're done with your test, put it in the basket. If you are not done, put it on my desk.
AB.
Have a great break this fall.
Since December? But when you did the deed with your girl, you gave me. So,
But that.
but
I didn't put it in my. No, I didn't put it in my.
Let me get you Mr. Seaver's email.
That's fraud. I just
You as well, Taylor.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss you. Oh my god.
Are you done with that?
Yeah, I put it on your book. No.
No, you're not done with it. Okay, I was gonna say, if you're done with it, these are on the basket. Not done.
What
That's- Well, huh?
do you plan?
Cute. I'm not able to get a pass, so when we come back from spring break, I can just get it to your
Yes.
teacher. I hate that it's terrible outside when it's like the first day of being away.
But yes, I will write you a pass.
Because I'd rather have more of your attention than me. Actually, if you don't mind, can I stay here for a little bit and
Yeah.
work on something?
Absolutely.
Because I know once I get out there and then the buses start coming, I just rather get this one assignment.
All right.
Do you think he'll respond to or read my email? Because he's
Oh,
like
yes.
really busy.
He'll
No.
still read it.
Mhm.
Yep. I would put in the subject line like question about prom or something like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I mean, if you're a principal, I'd be wondering if you go even glance at it. Because my counselor barely even read my email for real.
Do you have
Miss Starkey?
Starkey? Got it. You got the same one she does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you like her, Miss Starkey?
I've only met her a couple of times, so I don't know. B, what do you think?
Yeah, she seems really funny.
She is Miss Stratton's wife.
Miss Stratton. Who?
Miss Starkey.
No way. What? You playing?
No,
No.
I'm not playing.
Like Miss Stratton, the one that's gonna retire?
Mhm.
Yep. It's if you really pay attention to Miss Stratton's behavior, it's like really obvious.
Miss Stratton?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to like see. Well, I never knew that. I missed it. I'm like,
She doesn't advertise it.
she never even mentioned her being married. She talked about her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot, and how she's proud of her, she's polished. But I never knew that she was even married.
So, I can talk about this because it was in the news. But do you remember? Hello? Yes, please. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Have a great break, dear. A couple years ago,
Uh-huh.
there was a guidance counselor at Roncalli, which is a Catholic high school.
Mm-hmm.
And after same-sex marriage became legal in Indiana, this guidance counselor married their longtime partner. Didn't talk about it, didn't advertise it, but when administration at the school found out, they told her that she was to terminate her marriage or lose her job. That was Miss Starkey.
Oh. So she had to terminate her marriage?
No,
Oh.
they fired her.
They fired Miss Starkey? No way.
Not because she did anything wrong, but
Wait.
because she married her longtime partner.
So she's not the counselor no more?
No, Pike is fine with it. Roncalli, which is a private Catholic high school.
I heard about that. Wait, no.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, so many things are connected. I'm like, wait, I know what you're talking about. That was
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah.
They did the same thing at Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be a Catholic school thing, then. Because I'm like, they did the same thing at Vermont, and it was pretty sad. But because I remember that was already going on.
Yeah, and that's one of those, like, I get that you're a private school and whatever, but you hired someone to do a job. They were doing their job, and they were doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really have to get into their personal life if they're doing their job
Right.
well? Like, leave them alone.
Right.
I don't get that, but I'm not a religious person, so.
Right. I don't. I mean, I am into the faith, but I don't get that either. Like, I thought, like, when you have, like, in government, we talk about freedom of speech and stuff like that, or freedom to, and it's not just a speech, it's to do anything. Like, you can wear your own certain clothes or be like this and do things like that, but, like, what? Like,
Mhm.
if she never even told you, you would never even know. That's what I'm trying to even, I'm
Mhm.
trying to, like, how did they become a thing?
But that's part of the reason why, I mean, because think about how Indiana was for most of Miss Stratton's teaching career. Throughout most of her teaching career, if she,
told me some stories.
right? Like if stuff had gotten out about her personal life, even though it's a public school, it still could have made waves, created problems, and none of it had to do with whether or not she could teach theater,
Right.
you know? So.
And I didn't even know that was like a. Wow.